can play that setting in my favorite system. Hey everybody, Ron here. I wanted to talk today about a topic that I've been thinking about for a while. I posted on a forum recently about my experience with the One Ring RPG, and someone immediately replied, well, I can run the so-and-so system. And it got me to thinking, while that person whose opinion I respect, his statement is certainly true, it just got me to thinking about two sides of the coin. What if I want to play a setting in the house system, the system that was designed for it, versus what if I want to play the setting in a system that I prefer? What I mean by that is, let's take my example, the One Ring. I have the One Ring 2nd edition. I can either play the One Ring, the Middle Earth setting, in the One Ring system, or I can play the One Ring in, say, Fate or Savage Worlds or something like that, just as an example. Why would I want to play the setting in the officially licensed product? For whatever reason, I might actually like the official product. I may have a preference for the company or the designer or the setting. As an example, the One Ring 2nd edition is published by Free League, and I really like Free League as a company. One of the principal designers is Francisco Nepatello, and I like that guy's work. He did work on War of the Ring and Hunt for the Ring. I love War of the Ring. It's one of my favorite games. There's a card game coming out. I really enjoyed it. And plus, he worked on the 1st edition of the One Ring, and he is working on the 2nd edition, which has recently come out PDF, and people are getting the books. Yay! As another example of a designer, I really like Keith Baker, and I like the Eberron setting. So maybe I want to play the setting of Eberron in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons because Keith Baker is one of the principal designers, the 5th edition Eberron, and he's been involved with the Eberron setting since its initial release in D&D 3.5. So maybe that's the reason why I would want to play the setting in the official product. So my second reason you might want to play a setting in the official product is because the system is tied well to the setting. I think the One Ring is an excellent representation of role-playing in Middle-earth that emulates the feel and themes of the books. Maybe I can find people to actually play the game. For example, going back to Eberron, because this is on the forefront of my mind, it's designed for the current edition of Dungeons & Dragons. And there are plenty of people that are playing Dungeons & Dragons right now, particularly 5th edition, because it's grown by leaps and bounds. And so it'll be pretty easy for me to get players to play in an Eberron game in D&D 5th edition. Maybe I just want to run the system. Maybe I just want to run the One Ring system to see how it goes, or I just like the system for some reason. Same thing with D&D. The same thing with the Palladium system and Rifts. Maybe I just want to use those systems with the settings that they're designed for. Of course, there are reasons why you would not want to play the official system that a setting is designed for, and those are equally as valid. Maybe you want to support the system that you prefer. There's plenty of D&D players. I see a lot of talk on the internet about disparaging people for wanting to play setting X, Y, and Z with D&D 5th edition. Right now, actually, there's a pretty popular Star Wars 5th edition D&D hack. And that has some people scratching their heads. Like, why would you want to play Star Wars in 5th edition D&D when there's a perfectly good system, the Genesis system, that Fantasy Flight designed to play Star Wars in? But some people just want to play Star Wars and D&D because perhaps they're more comfortable. They have a certain level of expertise in D&D. It's pretty easy to port over. Kind of related, Cubicle 7 caught on to this. Cubicle 7 produced the first edition of the One Ring RPG, But they noticed there was a D&D market, so they made a 5th edition conversion called Adventures of Middle Earth, specifically for this reason, because people would be comfortable playing D&D. They know the mechanics, the D20 system, classes, levels, and whatnot. Maybe they were not interested in playing the One Ring system, but they certainly would be familiar with D&D, and perhaps they even love D&D, so they play it with a system that they know. 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe the system that you prefer hits certain gameplay or narrative note that you prefer and you think does it better than the official house design system. For example, some people say that Savage Worlds does a better job of emulating Eberron than Dungeons & Dragons does. Some other people also say that Fate does the same thing. Now, I'm not here to offer a perspective on which one I prefer. Quite frankly, I would play Eberron in all 3 of those, and I have. Some people believe this, and so they'll play Eberron in Savage Worlds, or they'll play the Eberron setting in Fate. Actually, same thing goes with the One Ring in Middle Earth. This is a valid reason. A lot of people have their system. They think that it just does the setting that they want to play really, really well. As a side note on this point, you see the big book there over my shoulder, the Marvel Encyclopedia. Well, you folks know by now that I love Marvel. Coming up in a couple of months, the playtest version of the Marvel 616 system is coming out. So Marvel has a house system. There's some games that I think can do Marvel superheroes pretty doggone well without looking at the system. Now, I am going to look at the system. For example, Prowlers and Paragons Ultimate Edition, I think, does a fantastic job. Another one that can do a good job is Icons. But to bounce back, talking about official systems, you know I have to mention the Phase Rip system. That's a house system, and people swear by that system as being the best superhero game system ever, particularly for Marvel superheroes. I'm not going to argue with them. I had to say something about Marvel right here, right? Maybe they can find more players for the system that they're going to run. Now, I've talked about this before, but I just want to reiterate this. Like, people love their game. People love familiarity, too. There's a lot of D&D players that's all they want to play, D&D. Cubicle 7 picked up on that and said, hey, we'll make a D&D conversion for you. And Free League is actually going to do the same thing. But if there was not, certainly people would fill in the gap. And you've already seen my example of Star Wars. You know, maybe you find that the One Ring system is just too weird or niche. You know, you got that special D12, you have D6s, and you add them all together, and, you know, there's some other things. People might be put off by that, but, like, D20 is better for them, or Savage Worlds is better for them. But, you know, those are just some examples. Maybe they just want to play the system that they love. You don't have to have a reason to have a preference for a system that you love. You can just play it because it gives you joy. And when it comes right down to it, that's what this hobby is all about. You know, it's about finding joy and happiness and connection with folks that you care about. Well, that's all I got for you. I hope this really generates some discussion. I do not lean heavily one way or the other. I have my preference based on the setting that I'm playing, and sometimes I can go either way. But I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for listening, and until next time, see you later.